The prison gates opened at exactly 6:47 a.m. I remember because I had been counting. Not just the days, not just the hours. Every single minute of those 731 days, 2 years. That's how long I spent behind bars for a crime I didn't commit. For a woman I had never met. For a man I had loved with everything I had. My husband, Daniel, the man who watched them drag me away in handcuffs. The man who testified against me in court. The man who held his mistress's hand while the judge sentenced me to prison. He thought I would come out broken. He thought wrong, because on the morning of my release, while Daniel was still sleeping peacefully beside the woman who stole my life, I was already 3 steps ahead, and by sunset, everything he had built on my destruction would come crashing down. This is the story of how I lost everything, and how I took it all back. My name is Catherine, and before I became inmate number 47,821, I was a pharmaceutical researcher. I had spent 12 years building my career, 12 years earning my reputation. I developed formulations. I led clinical trials. I was respected. I was also deeply, stupidly in love. Daniel was a sales executive at the same company. Charming, ambitious, the kind of man who made you feel like the only person in the room. We got married after 2 years of dating. For a while, it was perfect. We bought a house together. We talked about starting a family. I believed I had found my forever, but I didn't notice the cracks forming. I didn't see the late nights becoming later. I didn't question the business trips. I trusted him completely. That trust became my prison long before the actual one. Her name was Monica. She worked in the legal department. 28 years old, ambitious in a different way than I was. I later learned they had been seeing each other for almost a year before everything happened. A year of lies. A year of deception. Right under my nose. But the affair wasn't. The worst part was what they did to make sure I would never be a problem again. It started with small things going missing from my lab, controlled substances. Nothing major at first. A vial here, a container there. I reported it to security. They said they would investigate. Then one morning, I arrived at work to find police officers waiting at my desk. They had a warrant. I watched confused as they searched my locker, my office, my car. And then they found it. Hundreds of pills, hidden in my trunk. Substances I had never touched. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. They handcuffed me right there, in front of my colleagues, in front of people I had worked with for over a decade. I kept saying there had been a mistake, that someone had planted those drugs, that I would never risk my career, my license, my freedom for something so stupid. Nobody listened. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage showed me accessing the storage room during off hours. My keycard logs confirmed it. Digital records tied everything to my credentials. What I didn't know then was that Monica had access to the security system. She worked closely with IT. And Daniel knew my passwords, my routines, everything. They had planned this for months. At my trial, Daniel took the stand. My own husband. He told the jury that I had been struggling with stress, that I had become erratic, that he had suspected something was wrong, but didn't want to believe it. He cried. The jury believed him, and Monica sat in the gallery, watching it all, waiting for me to disappear. The judge sentenced me to 3 years. I got out for good behavior. 2 years of my life, gone, for their convenience. Prison changes you, not in the way movies show, not overnight. It's slow, it's quiet, it's the gradual erosion of who you thought you were. For the first 3 months, I cried every night. I wrote letters to Daniel begging him to help me, begging him to tell the truth. I believed there had been some mistake, that he would come to his senses. He never wrote back, not once. Then one day, I got a piece of news that changed everything. A woman on my block had a phone. Contraband, obviously, but she owed me a favor. I got 15 minutes to look at the outside world. I searched Daniel's name, and there it was, a photo on social media. Daniel and Monica, at a resort in Mexico, posted 3 weeks after my conviction. They were laughing, holding cocktails, his arm around her waist. The caption read, "New beginnings." Something inside me went cold, not broken, cold. I stopped crying that night. I stopped writing letters. I stopped hoping, and I started planning. Prison has a library. Most people don't use it. I lived in it. I read everything: law, finance, corporate policy, digital forensics. I took notes. I made timelines. I wrote down every detail I could remember about Daniel's habits, Monica's position, the company's structure, the security systems. I had nothing but time, and time is the most dangerous weapon you can give a patient. Woman. I made one friend inside. Her name was Rosa, former accountant. She had been convicted of embezzlement, but she knew numbers better than anyone I'd ever met. She also knew how corporations hide things. We spent hours talking, strategizing. She taught me how to follow money trails, how to spot inconsistencies, how to find what people don't want found. I wrote letters to old colleagues, carefully, casually, just checking in. Most didn't respond, but 3 did. And one of them mentioned something interesting. After I was arrested, there had been an internal audit. Several financial discrepancies had been discovered in the sales department. Daniel's department. The audit was buried. Quietly, Monica handled the legal side. That was my first thread. I pulled it slowly. From inside prison, one letter at a time. I also contacted a lawyer. A real one. Someone who specialized in wrongful convictions. I couldn't afford much, but I offered her something better. A story about a pharmaceutical company that framed an innocent woman to cover up internal theft. A story about a corrupt employee and his mistress manipulating evidence. A story that would make headlines. She took the case. By the time I was released, we had everything we needed. Security footage that showed Monica accessing my locker using a master override. Financial records showing Daniel had been siphoning company funds for months. Emails between them discussing how to handle the Catherine problem. They thought they had covered their tracks, but they made one mistake. They assumed I would stay. Broken. The morning I walked out of prison, I didn't look back. I had a small bag, some cash, a prepaid phone, and a folder containing 2 years of research. My lawyer picked me up. We drove straight to the company's corporate headquarters. By then, I had already sent copies of our evidence to 3 different journalists. The board of directors had received an anonymous package the night before, and the district attorney's office had opened a preliminary investigation based on new evidence. Daniel had no idea. He was probably waking up right about now, making coffee, checking his phone, living the life he built on my suffering. At 9:15 a.m., while he was in a sales meeting, federal investigators arrived at the company. At 9:42 a.m., Monica was escorted from the building. At 10 o'clock a.m., Daniel received a call from he was being placed on administrative leave pending investigation. At 10:30 a.m., I walked through those same doors. For the first time in 2 years, the receptionist recognized me. She went pale. I just smiled. I found Daniel in the parking garage. He was standing next to his car, phone in hand, shaking. When he saw me, he froze. I will never forget the look on his face. It wasn't fear, not yet. It was confusion, disbelief, like he was seeing a ghost. Catherine? His voice cracked. I walked toward him slowly, calmly. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times. I had rehearsed what I would say, but standing there, in that moment, words seemed unnecessary. So I let the silence speak. He started rambling, making excuses, saying he didn't know what Monica had done, that he was manipulated, that he never wanted this to happen. Lies, all of it. I let him talk, then I handed him a folder. Inside was everything. The emails, the security footage, the financial records, every piece of evidence that would destroy him. I'm not here for revenge, Daniel, I said. I'm here, so you know. You know exactly what's coming, and you know you can't stop it. He opened the folder. His hands were trembling. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard him call my name, desperate, broken. I didn't look back. Within 72 hours, everything collapsed. Monica was arrested for evidence tampering, fraud, and conspiracy. Daniel was charged with embezzlement and accessory to filing false charges. The company faced a massive lawsuit and federal investigation. My conviction was officially overturned. The same judge who sentenced me issued a formal apology. It was read in open court, but that wasn't the part that mattered most. What mattered was the moment I stood outside that courthouse. Free, truly free. Not because of anger, not because of revenge, because I had proven something to myself, that no matter how hard they tried to destroy me, I was still standing, still breathing, still fighting. Daniel pleaded guilty to avoid a longer sentence. He got 5 years, Monica got 7. They will spend their time in prison, thinking about what they did. I hope they count every minute. People ask me if I'm happy now. It's complicated. I lost 2 years of my life. I lost my career. I lost friendships. I lost trust in people I thought I knew. But I also found something. I found out exactly what I'm made of. Prison taught me patience. It taught me strategy. It taught me that survival isn't about strength. It's about stillness, about waiting for the right moment. And when that moment comes, you don't hesitate. I'm rebuilding my life now, slowly, carefully.